Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about something huge. The fact that life is incredibly short, even though most of us act like we have all the time in the world. So, we're going to break down some really powerful, practical strategies to make sure your time actually counts. Let's kick things off with a number that might just change how you see everything.
Here it is, 30,000. That's it. That's pretty much the number of days an average person gets. When you see it written out like that, it doesn't seem like a lot, does it?
And just to make it hit a little closer to home, if you're 30 years old, about 11,000 of those days, they're already in the rearview mirror. Now look, this isn't about scaring you. It's about creating a little bit of urgency. It really forces us to ask that big question: how are we going to consciously spend the days we have left?
Okay, so the foundation for all of this isn't some fancy new planner or app. It starts inside. It starts with your mindset. We're going to look at 3 key areas: how you see time, how you handle your emotions, and how you approach problems.
You ever wonder why summers felt like an eternity when you were a kid, but now entire years just vanish? Well, there's a name for it: the time unit paradox. See, your brain measures time by recording new experiences. As a kid, everything is new, right? But as adults, we fall into routines. The same commute, the same lunch, and our brain kind of goes on autopilot. It stops recording, and the days just blur into one big smudge.
But here's the really cool part. You can totally fight back against this time blindness. All you have to do is intentionally introduce new things into your life. We're talking small stuff. Take a different route to work. Try to learn one new thing a month. Just break the routine. When you do that, you force your brain to wake up and start paying attention again, and it actually makes time feel like it's stretching out.
All right, moving from time to emotions. This is a powerful piece of psychology. That initial chemical rush of an emotion, say anger or frustration, it only lasts in your body for about 90 seconds. 90 seconds. Anything you feel after that, that's you re-triggering it with your thoughts. You can't control that first wave, but you have total control over whether you keep telling yourself the story that keeps it going. And this is such a great little mental trick for when you feel stuck. We're so trained to ask, how can I solve this? But inverse thinking flips it around. It asks, wait a minute, how am I creating this problem? Sometimes the best solution isn't to add something new, but to simply stop doing the thing that's causing the issue in the first place.
So, once you start getting your inner world sorted out, how does that translate to the real world? Well, it's all about making smart, deliberate investments with your time and your energy. This isn't just about being productive, it's about being effective. I love this strategy because it's so simple and so powerful. So you make a list of everything you want to do, right? You circle your top 3. But here's the magic. Everything you didn't circle, that becomes your avoid at all costs list. Seriously, knowing what not to do is often way more important than knowing what to do, because it protects your focus for the things that really truly matter.
Now let's talk career. For a long time, we all thought of it as a ladder, just a straight climb to the top. But that model's broken. A much better way to think about it is as a jungle gym. You might move sideways to a different department, or even take a step back to learn a new skill. It might feel weird, but these moves let you build a unique combination of abilities that nobody else has. And that's what makes you irreplaceable. And this is the perfect mindset for that jungle gym approach, especially when you're starting out. The absolute best thing you can do is optimize for learning. Every new skill you pick up is like a lottery ticket for some future opportunity you can't even see yet. If you focus on building your knowledge, trust me, the money will eventually follow the value you can provide. So what about how we spend that money? Well, here's a really simple rule to live by. The excitement from a new gadget fades, right? And the object itself loses value the second you buy it. But an experience, a trip, a concert, a class, that pays you back for the rest of your life with memories and stories and personal growth. It's an investment that only ever appreciates in value.
Okay, so let's say you've got the mindset right, and you have a solid investment strategy for your time. None of it matters if you're running on empty. You have to fuel the engine. So let's talk about the 2 most critical sources of fuel you have: your health and your relationships.
This question just completely reframes the whole idea of productivity, doesn't it? It's not about time management, it's about energy management. Sleep isn't some luxury you sacrifice to get more hours in. It's a non-negotiable performance enhancer that makes the hours you are awake incredibly sharp and effective.
This is the perfect way to think about relationships, like a bank account. They're built on tiny, consistent deposits.
Remembering a small detail about someone? That's a deposit. Giving a genuine compliment? Deposit. But being late all the time? That's a withdrawal. Only calling when you need something? That's a huge withdrawal. And you just can't make a withdrawal from an empty account.
Okay, now here is a wild, counterintuitive hack for protecting your energy. It's not about being amazing at everything. It's about being strategically bad at low-value tasks. You know, the stuff that doesn't really matter. If you're not the go-to person for that stuff, it frees up your best energy for the work that only you can do, the work that actually moves the needle.
So what does all this boil down to? It's really this one powerful idea. You have to shift from a default mindset, where life just kind of happens to you, to a design mindset, where you're the architect. You're the one creating it.
And look, designing your life does not mean you need some perfect 10-year plan. That's impossible, and it's paralyzing. Instead, think of yourself as a scientist in your own life. You just run small, low-risk experiments. Try a new hobby. Talk to someone in a totally different career. You don't think your way into a new life, you test your way into it.
And this quote it perfectly captures the whole process. Big, life-altering change almost never comes from one giant decision. It's the slow, steady result of the tiny, almost invisible choices you make every single day. Those small habits are the bricks you're using to build the architecture of your entire life.
So let's bring this all home, right back to right now. The goal isn't to overhaul everything by tomorrow. It's just to start. Forget about someday. What is one small, simple experiment you can run today to start designing a life that truly, deeply counts?